Thursday, October 8th, and present, Virginia Morse Chair, Susan Prescott Vice Chair, Glenn Koppelman, Planning Board Representative, Richard Wilson, Board of Selectmen Representative, Ralph Murphy, Madeline Willett, and I did say you.
Yes, you did.
That's all of us. Stanley is not here tonight, and George Korn is not here tonight. Okay, critical correspondence. I don't have anything in particular, so let's take a look at the minutes from last month. Any corrections or omissions or additions to those minutes?
I have one small item.
Sure.
On page 3, the top paragraph, last line, says complement stated a true divided white with external grids would be preferred. That should be true divided light.
Aha, light.
Light with external grids.
Yep.
Yes, that's page 3, first paragraph, light instead of white. I didn't pick up on that. Any other comments or corrections? Okay, I'll look for a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes
Okay.
with Glenn's addition
Okay,
or correction.
Second?
okay, that's Madeline Willett with a second from Glenn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so those are unanimously accepted. Town board updates. Planning board, what have you got that concerns the Historic District Commission?
Nothing directly. I think I mentioned maybe at our last meeting that we were getting ready to start the capital improvement plan process for this year. And we have done that. We had the first meeting, review the initial proposals, and I think we had something from you, Virginia, saying that there was nothing
Right.
being submitted for
That's
HDC. And our next meeting is at the end of this month, and we've gotten some more material in, more detail from the fire department. We were missing that with an updated number on the fire station.
Okay,
So we now have that, so we should be able to make some good progress at our next meeting.
good enough, thank you. Richard, what's coming up with the selectmen?
Can't think of anything that was other than the normal.
Okay. The normal stuff that comes at you every week, right? Okay. Heritage Commission.
I attended the meeting. I can't think of anything that pertains specifically. There's an interesting presentation coming up by somebody named Steve something from the New Hampshire Humanities, and it's about the Poor Farm, which is over on Little River Road, but that's not in the Historic District, but it sounds interesting. November 2nd, 2 p.m. at the Town Hall.
Okay,
So those presentations are usually pretty good.
okay. November 2nd at the Town Hall.
Yeah.
And nothing is that all?
I think so. I don't.
Okay.
You were there at the meeting too, Richard. Do you remember anything that?
No.
No, okay, good.
All right. You might want to pull that mic towards you.
Oh, that
so
one?
that one,
This
so
one?
that, yeah, so you get as close as possible. And you still got one of the old ones there, Maddie. So, Jerry, we're a little early, but that's okay, because you're here. Here, okay, we're gonna add that Stanley Shalett is joining us, so,
Virginia?
yes,
Do you have an extra copy of the agenda for Mr. Murphy?
sure. Okay, and this one can be for, this one can be for Stanley, and there you go. So, Jerry, you are front and center again with your plans for 129 Main Street.
I've got some information for each one.
Yes, please.
That's all.
I'll be glad to get that for you. You can start by, again, saying your name and all into the mic, please. 2.
Street.
Yes, we do. 4, and I'll pass them that away. Go ahead, Jerry.
Name is Jerry Carboni, Kingston, New Hampshire. And we have a proposal for a house on 129 Main Street.
Okay. So, Jerry contacted me to say that he had a different design that he was looking at, and so you're going to see this in the package. Let us just take a minute to look at it, Jerry. I was so confident that our recorder, Adam, had everything going. I forgot to start the tape, but it's going now.
Which medium does Melissa use to do the minutes?
She uses,
Tape?
no, the tape is the least good. Either he does a jump drive or
Okay.
YouTube, either one of those formats.
Okay, so she'll be able to capture what small amount was said.
Yes.
beforehand.
Yes. So as you can see, this is a different house design than we looked at last month. Jerry, when we talked on the phone, one of the things I thought that you were going to change from this stock plan here was that you were going to eliminate the dormer or the room space above the garage. Are you
The
gonna
dormer's
keep
gonna
that?
stay.
It's going to stay?
It's gonna stay,
Okay.
yes.
For the board, we had a number of ideas and suggestions for the last plan that Jerry had submitted to us. And even though this plan has changed, many of the considerations are the same. And so I have a copy of those considerations. I've changed the dates up here so that we can think about October to November meeting, but these are the same as before. These are suggestions that we made to the house that we looked at previously. So you can send those that away. I make one apiece. So, comments or questions from the board? Go ahead, Ralph.
I have a question in reference to the window shutters will be eliminated. So I'm looking at the newest home plan.
Yeah?
The window shutters that you're referring to are obviously the ones that are on the front of the house.
Correct.
Or hurricane shutters, as we used to call them. And why is that? I'm just curious.
I think it would look better without the shutters.
There's no requirement that a house have shutters on it in the historic district, and if it's presented without the shutters, a homeowner could put the shutters on if they wanted to. I just want to make that comment. A couple of things that you and I talked about on the phone that I don't see on here. One of the things is that you said you wanted to bury the power lines,
Yes,
and the other thing was propane tank would be not visible, buried?
buried.
You can bury the propane tank. Okay, so power lines buried and the propane tank that serves the house will be buried.
I have an issue with the porch. I think the porch roof is a more modern porch, and normally a porch, the roof line would go right across the front of the facade to the corner board. And this way, this one stops partially the way. I think that should probably be carried through
Okay?
historically.
That's a recommendation to carry the roof of the porch all the way to the corner boards?
We can do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a big change. That allows, if the roof goes to the corner board, that allows for a really nice positioning of a piece of the roof and the corner board to make a nice corner on the side of the house, which is actually how my porch meets my house. And Jerry, I took a picture of that so you can see what we had for an idea of the porch goes all the way to the corner board.
Yeah, we can
I have
do
a
that.
picture of that you might like to see.
That's no problem.
Any other comments?
The windows that are going to go down Scotland Road, those look like they're kind of all over the place. They're not evenly or symmetrically spaced. So I think we'd want to see some symmetry with the windows down Scotland Road.
I have a picture of the window.
That would be
That
good.
I could, I only have one, but I can give it to you.
Or I guess we'd want to see how that whole side is going to...
Maddie, if you go to the right elevation page, you can actually see what the placement of the windows looks like. Go further on to,
Oh, yes.
Oh,
there are different...
oh, I thought it was just internal plans from there.
No, there are different elevations from different angles, so...
Oh, okay. But the bump out's going to be gone.
Yeah, that's what it says.
What is,
So are these windows external grids?
No,
Internal.
it says internal grids on the,
Internal.
on this page.
Oh, well, that's not what this picture looks like. This looks like external grids.
That's a style of window, but the grids would be internal.
Be gone.
Do you want to give it a go, you want to give it a look? See if you can see the information you're looking for?
No, I don't. These definitely look external.
Perhaps that style window would have internal or external grids.
It looks like they're all external grids.
That window comes with external or internal grids, so that's just a picture of the window with the trim.
Shall we pass that up?
Yeah, that looks like an external.
So we'd need to see what those would look like. The internal ones. I'd prefer external.
I took a look. We have quite a few houses with a similar design on Main Street, not all with porches, but many with porches. And so that positioning of the house on, with this facing Main Street is, there are probably 8 or 9 houses that have this kind of style and design. But I'm with Maddie. I don't care for the I say mismatched. There are too many sizes and styles of windows on the side from that right elevation page.
One thing that you don't get a sense for here is that these are stock plans, and Mr. Carboni in his list is saying that there are going to be numerous changes to this plan, like putting a garage on the Scotland Road side, I believe, and doing other things which could change what the look of that side is. And so a general comment for me to you would be that, I mean, this is all well and good for purposes of discussion, but when you submit a final application, it will have to have the exact plans that you intend to build, because when you receive approval for it, it's what the building inspector will be checking, and it's what this board will be checking when, as it's being built and when it gets done. So, I mean, this is good for discussion purposes, but you're intending to make numerous changes, and those, the board would need to have those changes reflected on an official plan set when it comes time for you to do an application.
Right, so I'd like to see if you're going to give us a house with no shutters, what it looks like without the shutters. Like, we want to see what it's going to look like.
So one of the things that Jerry said to me when we talked on the phone was, again, just like he came with that colonial design before, that he'd like to bring this as is, and then it's an investment to get the changes for the house plans the way he wants them. So this is stock printed out from the website, but that if this sounded like it was going to meet the approval of the board, that you would be making and presenting to us at a public hearing the specific plans for the house, with the garage on the other side, with all the changes that you plan to make, would be presented to us. Is that, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, I plan to build this particular house with the changes I listed on the sheet.
Right. So
This
we,
exact house with the windows the way they are. If we're gonna change things, I have to change things with the designer that designed this house.
correct,
I have to give her any change.
right. So you're gonna show,
Anytime I give her a change, there's a certain cost involved.
that's,
And
that,
I plan on building this house as you see it with the changes that I mentioned on the sheet.
okay.
The garage, I can put shutters, that's how, I can put shutters, not a big deal. Either way, I just thought it would look better without shutters. If you want shutters, that's how the front would look. The porch we can extend over, the bump out will be gone. The windows, as you see them, will be stock windows. If there's a change, I have to know what size to give to the designer so you can incorporate this into a change order for
Right.
the house.
So the final plans that we approve, that Glenn was just saying, have to be the plans the way they're going to be built, because that's what the building inspector will come to see. So the building inspector can't have this set of plans, and he goes to see how you're doing.
understand that,
And the
sure.
garage is on the other side.
Yeah, I understand
It
all
has
that.
to have the changes.
But as far as the windows on the side, into this plan, the small windows in the right elevation,
But you're basically gonna do a reverse plan of this, right?
correct.
So basically, the left elevation becomes the right elevation.
Right.
The right elevation becomes the left elevation.
Is
Right,
that because he's gonna be putting the garage?
Garage on
the
Scotland
right-
Road side.
On the right
Right.
side of the house?
Yeah.
Is that also, where the
I don't see that
entrance to the garage will still come in from Scotland Road?
correct. And the doors will face Scotland Road. I spent a lot of time with the designer at Art Form, given the lot size and where you wanted the house facing Main Street. We went through a lot of designs. This is the one that kind of make most sense for this particularly configured lot. If it faced, if the front door faced Scotland Road, it'd be a total different design.
So if the garage is moved to the right side of the house, then the same configuration of windows and so forth would then be on the left-hand side
Yes,
without the bump out.
no bump out. That'll be eliminated.
And with regards to the garage, it's, from the way you described it, it's not just a matter of taking it from the left and moving it to the right, because it's also going to be turned 90 degrees because the doors are going to be facing Scotland
Well, I
Road.
think the garage is square, 22 by 22. I think it is.
Garage is 22 by 22.
Yeah, so you just,
So the doors will just go on this,
So just put the
just move
doors
the
on
doors. Yeah,
on the Scotland Road
but
side.
then there'll be windows facing the front, so.
Right, and we don't know what that's going to look like.
Oh, so the garage isn't gonna be behind the house, it's gonna be next to the house? Oh, just like this, flipped, okay.
Attached to the house?
All the more reason why we need to see exactly what is being proposed to be built. I mean, as I said, for discussion purposes, this is fine, but this doesn't get us to the point of having something to review for approval purposes.
that'll affect the first floor plan too? That'll have to be changed. Because the garage is on the right instead of on the left.
Do we have anything in the district that has a garage attached to it like that?
We probably do have houses in the district, but they were built in more modern times. You know, there are some fairly modern houses dating probably back to the 60s.
That have attached garages.
That might have, I think if you know, further to the southern end of Main Street, some ranch style that have garages at, sort of on the end.
I looked over the front page of this, and it seems like the house is a copyright or a patented design. And I was wondering, what kind of changes can you make without getting in a conflict with these people? You know, on their website, they're giving you a picture of their design. Are you gonna make substantial changes to the design or just minor changes?
Just what's listed on the sheet.
I mean, will they permit you to make
The company, Art Form?
something?
Oh, yeah, they'll change anything. This is version 12 of this particular Tory Classic plan. So they've made many changes. Somebody wants a different design, different look, different interior. They'll make a lot of changes to this particular design. So I give them what I want, and they'll draft it out the way I want it and charge me accordingly.
When I built my house, I used a company similar to this, and I combined 2 different houses into one, and they did it for me. You know, I took what I liked out of one house and put in the other one, and they did the work for me. So,
Yeah, because the customer is going to be paying for those changes, because the company will do it, but the customer pays for it, so.
Well, gosh, I know we talked about last time having the garage at the back of the building. And that thus we were looking at turning the driveway was gonna come off Scotland Road. And the house was gonna face, but the driveway was coming off onto Scotland Road. But with this plan, with the garage attached to the front of the house, well, the side of the house, but and the garage and the driveway coming off, I just don't know if that'll look right.
you know, he's talking about turning the doors towards Scotland. Okay.
Which I think there's an issue with it being attached to the house in a historic district, because it's usually not. It's usually detached, either a barn or attached with a breezeway. And now it's gonna be stuck up against it and turned.
It's just a mirror image of this particular picture.
Right,
That's
I
all it
know.
is.
And in a normal subdivision, that works, but this is a corner lot.
I'd just soon
in a
have the house
historic
face
district.
Scotland Road, tell you the truth. Then I could put a different, I don't wanna go through that. We decided on Main Street, the door face Main Street, and, this particular design, I think, fits very well with that configured lot.
If you move the garage to the right-hand side of the house,
Yeah.
and so the doors are facing out, when you're going down Main Street, you're going to see the side of this garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll look actually
Which is
better
odd.
than what, looking at two
So
doors.
if it's just something sticking out of the side of the house, then it ought to have some aesthetics to it to blend in with the house, because otherwise you're not even gonna know what it is. You know what I mean? It's,
I don't know. I can't picture it. I almost think if it's gonna be right attached to the house, then it should probably face, the garage should probably face Main Street, because when you pull into a driveway, that's what you would do. Or if it was behind the house, then I would say that it might make sense to face Scotland Road. That would be, I would have to see. I can't picture it on the corner lot. I mean, it's a corner
This will
lot.
actually look better than looking at two garage doors. Right now, the way it's configured, you'd be going
Well,
down
you're gonna
Main
be
Street,
driving up the street and
looking
seeing
at
it
two
anyway.
garage doors, but the way it'll be now, you'll go by, see the front of the house, and you'll see a structure, which is the garage, with windows instead of garage doors from Main Street.
Depends on which way you're driving.
Well, either way, you're going on Main Street. Scotland Road, you'll see two garage doors.
Virginia, did you say that the dormer above the garage was going to stay?
Yes.
Okay, so then when the garage gets put to the other side, the doors go onto the Scotland Road side, that dormer will be there on that roof, and then presumably some windows or something would go onto the facing side, the street facing side. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
it's just this house reversed, mirror image, other than the garage doors.
Right, but
And the dormer.
to have
When you
one whole
eliminate
blank,
the gar-
one whole blank wall would not be
Right,
good.
when you eliminate the garage doors, you're gonna have a blank wall, or you're gonna put windows in?
Oh, you have to put windows there.
We don't have to.
Well, you don't.
Oh, it'll look better with windows.
That's something we'll finalize with this
Look
final
like part of the
plan.
house.
it would just look a lot better.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, this is very preliminary, that we're just kind of looking at a concept and aren't going to do much anything until we get the next plan.
Yeah.
so we move the garage to the other side of the house. The garage doors face Scotland Road, and do the dormers stay above the garage doors?
Correct.
So
No, the
It's not above the-
dormer stays where it is.
The dormer
Dormer
will
will
be
still
facing
face
Main Street.
Main
the
Street.
dormer will still be facing Main Street.
Yep.
Correct.
Because,
Not above the garage doors.
well, no, because the garage isn't turning like that, it's just going from this side over to this side in that same configuration.
So he'll have to end up with some windows in the garage in the front to make it balance.
So there'll have to be a window in the peak over the garage, so the garage will now have a peak
There is
over it.
No peak.
Well, if you,
The peak's facing Scotland.
right, so if you put the doors over there, you'll have to have a window above them, otherwise it'll just be a huge empty peak, right?
You'll be
Which
looking
there
at,
is.
There's already one there.
you'll be seeing the
If you
dormer.
look at the left image, left elevation, there's a window there.
Ah, right. That's left.
It says left elevation, but it would become the right elevation.
Oh, it's under my thing, I couldn't find it, okay.
There's no reason why that end wall, which is going to be facing Main Street, correct?
No. If you go to this elevation, right here, this is exactly what the house is gonna look like, except this is gonna go to here. And the doors are gonna go to the side. That dormer will still be facing Main Street.
Yep. So I want to know what's going to be here underneath the
That's what we're
dormers.
saying, is he'll have to do some windows there
Okay.
to balance.
On the second page, the first floor diagram, it looks like on the side of the garage, there's already a door.
Entry door.
So if the front-facing wall we're still gonna have an entry door and maybe two windows to match the front of the facade of the house, that might make it quite nice and balanced. So the entry door, a couple of windows, and the dormer above, it would just look like an L on the house, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what he'll have to work out, because that door will have to come out for the doors to go in over there, the garage doors.
Right, yeah.
The whole first floor plan has to be changed. Everything's shifted over.
So far, we've talked about extending the roof line of the porch
Yep,
to the corner boards.
yep.
We've talked about understanding that the garage doors will face Scotland Road,
Correct.
that the part that continues to face Main Street with the dormer above is going to need an appropriate window treatment.
Oh, sure.
It can't just be a plain blank wall.
No, it wouldn't look good. You gotta have windows. It'll look like the extension of the house when you're looking at it.
That would be nice.
It will.
Okay. I see on your write-up, Jerry, that you said the shingles will be a 50-year product that's manufactured by GAF.
I've got samples.
If, that would be good, if we could see samples, yes, we talked about samples, so we've, okay, good. Sure, start right there and pass them around. So this is some samples of the roofing, obviously, and the siding, and he has not decided on a color yet. Well, I think there's some good detail around the windows. They're not just flat, plain blank trim.
I talked to East Coast, the window designer there.
Yes?
And I told her it's in the historic district in Kingston, and she recommended that window for this house, for this area.
So this is this the siding that you're proposing, this one?
Yes.
This one's got a kind of a
It
strange
could go either
profile.
way, it doesn't matter.
This one, I've never really seen one like this, have you? You have?
It's a little different.
Not in the.
Not in the
district.
historic, not historically, but that would be a little more,
More like a clapboard design.
yeah. This
Yeah.
one, I don't know about that one.
That one's more like a camp type.
Oh,
I don't
see.
use that one either.
I
Huh?
I don't use the one you don't like either.
The one that's
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of a
like that one.
strange shape?
That's just an option.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
Lots of color choices, some texture to it. Okay, standard.
And you're totally
shingles.
opposed to the hardy board?
Pardon?
Hardy board, or another synthetic product other than the vinyl?
You could. 3 times the amount of
Those look
money.
nicer.
I gotta sell this thing, you know.
And it will sell better, too, 'cause it will look nicer.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you've got to think, if someone's looking to get into a historic district, they're going to be looking for the,
Everybody's got an opinion on that.
yeah.
That's a good point.
You could make more on it. Just raise the price.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I just had one question. Did you, I know with this one, you're proposing to sort of just flip it, so mirror image that over there. Did you ever consider taking the garage and turning it 90 degrees?
Yep.
And putting it in the back of the,
No, I haven't.
so if you took that garage and turned it 90 degrees so that the roof lines were both going in the same direction,
I think this...
put it
this-
back here, you just have to shift your mudroom door a
Yeah,
little bit,
that's a whole new design.
you know?
They may recommend a different design than the Tory Classic,
Right,
'cause they have a boatload of different designs.
right.
And this one, I think with the gable and the peak going different ways is good.
I think it's interesting, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of more like a New England style with the peaks going in the same direction, but kind of look like big house and smaller house behind it, you know? So, I didn't know if you had room on the lot or if you, because the garage doors could still face Scotland Road.
Pardon?
If you did that, the garage doors would still face Scotland Road.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a thought.
Well, he's still taking information. The final decision is yours from all the ideas that we've given. Any other comments or directives or suggestions?
I only have one last comment, and that was that Mr. Carboni asked for comments the last time. You provided him a very long list, and a lot of the things on that list were recommendations, and those recommendations are not of interest to this applicant. And so,
Okay. I incorporated a few of her suggestions.
maybe a few.
Now,
There
the
was-
wraparound porch isn't gonna work with this design, because the garage door is there.
Unless you put
I-
the garage in the back,
Okay,
and that
then-
would work.
My intent is not to get into a debate or an argument. I'm just saying that,
Right.
that's what I see, and so until I see a final design with all of the appropriate supporting materials, it's very difficult for me to comment further.
Very preliminary.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, if you think you have the feeling of this board, and you're ready to present us with a final plan, I have this considerations for the new home with updated dates. So our next Historic District Commission meeting is on November 12th. In order to post that information for a public hearing, and I've written this down, so I'll give it to you, we'd have to have received those plans by October 22nd, the full set of plans. I have it right here, and I'll give it to you. And then we'd post that, and then we would expect to see the plans as you envision them, with the suggestions that you have taken from us, or what you think will be the best plan, and submit it to us, and we would have a public hearing with the full set of plans.
Before I buy a whole set of plans, what I want to do is get this house changed around with the garage, exactly like it's going to look with the extended roof line on the porch. With or without shutters, I don't care. It's cheaper without shutters. That looks better without shutters. But I can get you the outside changed over so you're seeing exactly what you're going to be looking at for an approval. Not the inside, just the outside.
Just the outside.
Right.
Okay,
Just the outside,
so
that's all.
I'm sure as you make some changes for windows and where the garage is and all of that, it'll change your interior layout, but that is not our
No,
concern.
let's just do the outside.
Okay, so we need to see the outside.
Yeah,
We'd need to see
few views.
the views
different-
all the way around,
Yeah, I can get that done.
okay?
And that way, you're seeing what you're getting with the windows, with exactly what they're gonna put on the blueprint that I built the house from.
And the garage on the right-hand
Yes.
side of the...
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And, with 2 windows in the garage facing Main Street. The garage doors will face Scotland Road. So it'll look like a continuation of the house, which will be better than what you're looking at here, I think. Yeah, I understand.
And are you saying that you're going to do that and do the full application, and that you would be ready for the public hearing next month?
I think he's saying he wants to do an update of that.
Would you
one.
like to do an update of this before we do the public hearing?
I'd like to do this thing in November, final, but I want to get this thing to you before then. Is that possible?
I can't do that myself without the boards. I can't look at that
You get a
myself.
consensus without a meeting?
I'm sorry?
Can you get a consensus without a meeting?
No.
No, I cannot.
I'm still going to do the new layout, so you're looking at what it will be, and then we'll go from there. I'll start with that.
Okay. Right.
And, what other details, anything else? Porch, no bump out, reverse garage, reverse doors, same dormer.
I have a question about not the composition of the material on the outside of the house or garage, but the color. Is there a color requirement of houses that face Main Street? Is there of a certain color?
No.
Because I actually kind of like this color, but I didn't know if...
It's not bad.
No, there's no requirement for color. Okay, well, it appears to me that we're going to do more information next month rather than the public hearing on the final plans. Is that correct?
I'd like to get it done next month,
Well,
final.
You can submit the full plans and the full application, fill out the whole application, you can do that, and then we will act on it as a board at a public hearing. Or you can come back with the changes here and see what it looks like with those changes, and we're still in the information.
I want to start with that, but I'd like to get approval in November. Now, you need plans for the outside, you need the elevations,
Yes,
okay. You're not concerned with the inside,
that's correct.
okay. So I can get those for you. And that's what you're going to approve it on, what the outside looks like.
Right, samples of lights. We've got a little bit of your window, but we don't have what your window would look like yet, because we don't have the internal lights. Or the internal
grids.
Grids, yeah.
You want more information on the windows?
Well,
A
well, you
picture of
heard
what-
that we want external grids. I think, I don't know if we want to take
It's,
a consensus if we want, if we would recommend external grids versus internal, but internal grids.
That's not a selling point.
But we need to see a picture of what the window would look like with internal grids. So here
Okay.
we can see the trim,
Yep.
but it's an external grid. So we need a picture of the specific,
I might be able to get you a small sample if I can.
Yeah.
yep, that'd
Yeah,
be good.
sure,
Really
small
good.
piece.
Yep.
Very much.
Yeah, if I may, I was just thinking about lighting on the outside. Lighting up of the driveway, the entrance, lighting in front of the house, whether it be a light post or something of that nature, particularly on the Scotland Road side. If there were going to be 2 lamp posts on either side of the driveway leading into the garage, then do they have to conform to something as well? To some,
No, but we
not
have,
too
They should
bright,
match,
not
they
too
should
tall?
match the aesthetic of the house.
Well, and if in fact those are going to be proposed as part of the project, examples of those fixtures or technical data sheets, spec sheets for those lights ought to be included as part of the application.
Yeah,
Right.
because something has to light up the driveway when you pull in.
right, so that's
Well,
on,
not necessarily.
Well,
Not necessarily.
There
Well,
could-
not
there could
really,
be,
but-
there could be sconces on the sides of the garage doors, and that could be enough to light it.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be, pole lights.
Yeah, we put lights on the doors anyway, front door, garage doors.
Yeah, a lot of that's
Those
code,
apply
isn't
to
it?
the-
I don't
Yeah,
even know.
so we
the-
just want to see the
for a new
samples of the
garage.
lights that you
Going to be a
plan on
fairly
using.
short driveway, I suspect.
Yeah.
Very short.
And there's probably light from the street, there's probably a street light right there as well.
Yeah, it's a corner. Yep. Do we see landscaping too?
I think
There
we,
was a little,
I think we asked for it on the last new house that was built.
we did.
Yep.
yep.
So Jerry, on this sheet, we have all, ideas about all those things. Site plan, building plans, materials, et cetera, et cetera. That's all on here, you've had that before.
Right.
So I'm gonna give this back to you because it has the dates on it.
Okay.
If you so choose to have it be a public hearing, and, ready to do. And then, again, this is the process of the public hearing. You did indeed give me the abutters.
Yes, I did.
But I need to have sticky labels.
Who does that?
The 3 sets. So I gave you back your list, and I even gave you some sticky labels.
Oh, you did? Oh, good.
Yes. So you can print them out, or have somebody who's willing to handwrite them out, do that in public. So when you're ready to submit that final plan, that has to be included with it.
If I go for a final plan in November, and it's not approved, we continue it till December? If there are any changes to be made?
Yes, if,
I gotta go, I might as well shoot for November.
well,
Gotta go, if I don't.
you have the
I gotta go
dates
December
there,
anyway.
you have the requirements that you heard tonight, what we want to see, you have the dates on the paper that I gave you of when I'd need to see that full set, and then I would start the public hearing process. So sometimes, there are 3 choices: a flat yes, a flat no, or to be continued with some changes.
How about a conditional approval? Do you give those?
No.
No?
We've,
Those went out the window, huh?
the trouble with conditional approvals is something gets started and then something goes wrong and everybody's unhappy. in back then. Do you have the regular application form that's,
I filled one out a while ago, but the dates
There
are
have been some
on.
changes to it, maybe we should get the most
Thank you.
recent version. Or you should get the most recent version.
I'll give you a copy of the most recent version so that, I don't have a copy of this in my possession. This is the certificate of approval application. So now you've got all kinds of paperwork.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't look
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know how to get in touch with me if you have questions along the way.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last month, I gave a homework assignment to some people to check on applications.
I see Richard's got his right out there, look at
All
that.
right.
Probably the first time I've ever done my homework.
His children used to do their homework for me.
I bet Nick didn't.
Well,
I had 119 Main Street. And
Yes.
they are as far as they're gonna go for now. But he said there's a lean-to in the back, which I don't see on the plans, that he's already got the piers poured for that he's planning on doing next year. And I told him he had to come back in and reapply, and he was fine with that.
okay, so since
That ran out in March.
it did, so he needs to reapply.
He knows.
He knows that. They've been very eager to do things just right. Marie Bear. Okay, so wait till you see this, folks. I invested in some paper. That was the right size.
Oh,
And I updated all of this. And I used to be a whiz at Excel charts, but somehow I didn't get the lines on the first pages. I just got lines on half the other pages. So until I figure out what I did wrong, you'll have to use a ruler or something. But mostly where the lines are is the newest information anyway.
Okay.
So we can take, so this was a, March 1st, 2017, so they're in chronological order. So it's number 29 on your sheet here. And they need to, they're going to reapply, right?
Reapplying next year, he thought. You know, he said,
Okay, so it's only partially done. Everybody on here is known by their last name except Glenn, because I couldn't fit it on the sheet, so I had to keep getting Koppel, and so I decided, why not just do Glenn? Okay.
I noticed that. I was looking through and I was looking at all the last names and I said, I know I did at least one of these things.
You're Glenn. Maddie, you had Eggleston.
I get the dunce cap today.
Uh-oh.
I forgot.
She didn't do her
I
homework.
did not. I will make sure I take care of that, though.
Okay. And Susan, you had Clemazik's.
It's done and looks very good.
Okay, so that's number 32 on here. And so it's completed.
It is complete. Looks good.
All right. Hooray.
Allergic to work. Oh, sorry.
All right, so we have that taken care of. And now, I just love Ellen Faulkner. She's always right on the ball for everything, especially dates, especially because she always likes to see if the planning board could have our Tuesday in December so that they can squeeze in their public hearings. But this year it's going to be complicated because we have lots of voting stuff. So this is a draft. I don't know why this doesn't say draft up here, but it's a draft of meeting dates. And what I found last year was that when we had to change from our regular Tuesday, instead of getting a consensus of who can come so that we'd have a quorum, I just changed it like to the next day if the room was available. That didn't really work very well. So I'm wondering, so here's what Ellen and Tammy have gotten together, and she said the two dates, March 10th and September 8th. March 10th and September 8th do actually conflict with ours. So those need to be changed, right? They haven't set the date for the January primary yet, but it'll be sometime between January 21st, so we don't have to worry about January, or February 21st. So we don't know yet if it will conflict with that Tuesday, February 11th. So we kind of have to leave that hanging, because maybe we don't need to change it. But if we can't have it on a Tuesday, what other day of the week? I know you don't know your schedule way ahead. Good grief, who knows where you
I don't know what I'm doing
travel
tomorrow.
to?
I know.
But,
And if I did know, I'd forgotten, so.
The only one of concern is March 10th.
and December 8th. If it isn't on a Tuesday, is there another day of the week that's really hard for people, like
Monday for me.
Monday is no good? No good. Glenn? Usually Wednesday is not good for you.
The Wednesday after hours is not, because that's my standing Rockingham Planning Commission meeting, which is on the second Wednesday. So it could be on another Wednesday, on a different Wednesday, like on the first or the third Wednesday would probably work.
Well, that works for me. Wednesdays are all right for me.
Yeah,
Work for me.
I could do
But-
Wednesdays.
Mondays, we would lose selectmen representation.
Oh,
And Susan?
Oh, that's right.
And, but if, so not the second Wednesday?
Correct.
Would we-
I.e. the day after our meeting.
Right.
If we were absent of two, would we have a quorum? Would we have?
Well, you know, somebody might have the flu. I don't want to mention that. Somebody might be going someplace special.
That's right.
Who's all this traveling.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get it on a day in which we have the best chance of a group. Is there any day of the week that's not good for you?
Any day of the week is okay.
Is okay, okay. Maddie?
yeah.
Right.
Thursday typically is not an option for me anymore due to new work obligations, so.
The hours would still be the same, right?
Yeah,
So, for Tuesday, March 10th, have we decided what day yet? Or will you let us know at some point in time?
Well, that's what she's trying to do now, but is there an RSA that says we can't meet election day?
I'll tell you what happened to me on election day years ago. All the town police are busy with the election. I held a meeting here on election day because the voting was in the high school gymnasium. Everybody saw the lights on and came in here thinking they were voting. That wasn't my fault. Unfortunately, I set off the alarm by not keying it in properly.
Even better.
And all the town of Kingston policemen were at the town hall for voting, and they had to call someone from Newton to come here and check on it. So besides people being misdirected for voting,
Well,
that was an unpleasant
back
situation.
then, in your behalf, voting would be here once, there once, here once.
Right.
Now it's always there,
Yes.
you know, so
Is it always there now?
I can't remember the last time it was here.
I think the only thing we do here now is the deliberative session.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So all the actual voting is now
My
done.
point is why can't we have our meeting at 7 o'clock on the election day?
We could, to answer your first question, I don't think that there is an
Okay.
RSA prohibiting that. But there's always been discussion about whether boards should have meetings
On election day.
on election day because they're public meetings, they're, and if
Well, if
people...
you need to go to the meeting, vote early.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Richard, I'm just saying that there are some considerations that I think that the boards have taken into account when trying to do that. I don't have an issue with it.
We'll still probably have a continuation of,
Yes, so then the other thing I need to do before I can say for sure is I have to check and make sure nobody's using this space on
On
a
that day.
particular day.
Gotcha.
And then I would update this and we'll just hang tight to see what happens in February.
Okay.
how many do you need for a quorum?
4.
Odds are you always get that, right?
Oh, you'd be surprised, a couple of times we haven't.
It was sketchy. When I first joined the board, it was sketchy.
Yeah, we've got a fuller board, and George is back and forth from
I
Florida.
know
He'll be here
travels.
next.
He's pretty much out in the winter.
Well, he's gonna be back in November, because
He's
Susan's,
gonna cover for me.
yeah,
So.
probably going somewhere else.
That was my mistake. I was gonna fly out on a Wednesday to California, and
That's all
then
right. That's
we
all
go out into it, and then they were like, well, let's just go Tuesday, here's a flight now. And then as soon as we booked it, I was like,
Oh, well.
That's okay.
I
That
know.
is okay. You
That's
go to
okay.
California.
Would it be any
It's my
better,
daughter.
excuse me, would it be any better if we moved it up to 8 o'clock on election day because the polls close at 8 o'clock?
Getting into my bedtime.
Yeah, no, Stanley, I'm not gonna start at 8 o'clock. I will have,
My only process is if we move it to 8 o'clock, I'm gonna call everybody at 4 in the morning when I get up.
No.
So,
Okay.
on March 10th, if there's a conflict of holding it on the same evening as the town election, then what night will we have it?
I'm gonna give that to you when you come back next meeting on November 12th.
Okay.
How about that?
And that holds true with December 8th?
Yes, both of those, I will check it out and change the date and post it, and then we'll just keep our fingers crossed that they don't choose Tuesday, February 11th for the primary.
okay.
All right?
In all honesty, I have so many meetings that I just wait until I get the email that says when to be there.
Right.
I mean,
Okay. Think that does it, folks.
Motion to adjourn at 8:04 PM.
8:04, okay.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning this meeting at 8:04? Aye. Opposed? And nobody's abstaining from that one. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for